to fade. I'm gonna come up with an opening sequence of some sort, maybe a montage of, I don't know, because this is my second episode. But welcome to episode 2. Hopefully, there's more energy. I seem to be a low energy sort of fella these days, but it is what it is. This episode may be a little longer as what I'm doing sort of takes shape. So I want to get right into it. The first part of this episode is going to be sort of the appeal, like why I think we really got to focus on this Hail Mary play to get a conviction after the midterms. You'll see to my right, or my left on the screen, that Michael Cohen got fired by MeidasTouch. Now, if you've been watching my live stream, and I know you have not, I'm kind of dubious of the MeidasTouch. I'm dubious of everybody trying to make a buck in the middle of all this. I mean, it's just like we're just in shark-infested waters, and everybody's got a fin on their back. So it's just kind of hard to trust because we always turn around, and here we go. They had to separate themselves from Michael Cohen. Now, I'm not lying to you. I've been checking out MeidasTouch for a while and had no idea that the mea culpa was on that network, because I used to watch a lot of MSNBC, obviously, and he was on there a lot, and I didn't love that. I get being like sorry for what you did, and also having served time. Like he wasn't fired. Like he went to prison for what he did. Like, and then he came out of prison. So it's like once you serve your time, so on and so forth, right? But still, something about him just feels. And then, like, when you go back and listen, because there's tapes of him doing his job for Donald Trump, and he was right up there with the Stephen Millers of cartoon theatrics that you don't think people like that really exist. And there was always some weirdness to him. And MSNBC is like really good at being the good guys. And so they love to parade their former Republicans out, like see how we're turning the hearts and minds. So like having Michael Cohen on their air was even bigger than Richard Steele, you know? So like it was wild. And part of me wonders if that factored into deciding who should go and who should stay, because he did a lot of work on Joy Reid's show. And this is the thing. He separated from MeidasTouch because of the Epstein files, and he's showing up in the Epstein files. And certain sources that I can't verify are saying that he showed up kind of big. And this is what really bugs me and why he's the top story for me today. He knows, right? He's been his fixer for X amount of time. He's already been on the record talking about how he had some understanding of Epstein himself. So, like, he knows. He knows all the crimes. He's the lawyer. He has executive or attorney-client privilege. He knows. So, given all of his behavior and what Tabitha Speaks Politics is about to explain in the current, like what this video is about, like he knows. So all of this stuff that we've only seen driplets and droplets of, that's already should have everybody in jail, like already. Like we saw like 3% of what was in there, and that's enough. 3% is enough. Everybody should be in jail already off 3%. So this fool knows at least, 20%, because he hasn't been around since the 70s, but he's been around. He's a lawyer. He has to see shit, so he knows. He knew that stuff. He knew the extent he knew, and he went on NBC anyway. You know what I mean? Like, he went on NBC anyway. He went on this whole public tour. I feel like the only way he doesn't get out of jail and then go someplace and hide is if he is supremely confident that that shit is never gonna come out. And that is why we gotta impeach that dude, because I felt like the fix has been in for a minute now. It just feels like they are so brazen, they don't give a fuck. People don't openly cheat. They don't just like pull a Marlowe in the grocery store and just pick up what they want and walk out like you can't do nothing unless they know something that you don't know. And I always felt like Sarah Huckabee Sanders knew something we didn't know. And a lot of people had a level of confidence that just doesn't make any sense. And this fool right here is what. Listen to what she has to say.
So a couple of days ago, I was scrolling over on Threads and I came across this, a post by the MeidasTouch. And the post reads, MeidasTouch Network will no longer be producing or carrying the show Political Beatdown or Mea Culpa with Michael Cohen. And that was it. They didn't elaborate. They said nothing more. And so now that it's a few days later, stuff is coming out. Let's talk about it.
I hope this counts as giving her credit.
Now, we all know who Michael Cohen is, but just in case you don't know who Michael Cohen is, Michael Cohen is a former attorney for Donald Trump. Michael Cohen ended up going to prison because of Donald Trump, the things that he would do for Donald Trump. Michael Cohen was nicknamed the fixer for Donald Trump. Michael Cohen was the one who facilitated the whole payoff with Stormy Daniels. I think it was $150,000, I think. Research it. And so all of the illegalities, the criminal activity that was happening surrounding.
Let's research it. I forgot what I'm doing and where I'm at. Let me see here. I got Nova sitting here. He's just in voice mode or whatever. You know, like the on screen. How much? I can't see my keyboard. Did Trump pay Stormy Daniels? Let's see what we got here. The hush money case, $130,000, according to Wikipedia. That's probably all right. Exchange for an NDA. So they're like, don't tell me about this terrible tiny penis.
Michael Cohen went to prison. And then he testified against Donald Trump in the case, Letitia James's case, where she charged Donald Trump for fraud. She won that case, by the way. He owed the state of New York $500+ million. Anywho, after him going to prison, he supposedly, Michael Cohen, supposedly had seen the light. He wanted to come over to the side of truth, yada, yada, yada. But I just always side-eyed Michael Cohen, because Michael Cohen was in deep with all of the criminality with Donald Trump and the people around him. He was in deep, and he had no problems until he felt that Donald Trump hung him out to dry. Donald Trump went on to be president, and he ended up going to prison, right? And so I never jumped on the bandwagon with, let's give Michael Cohen a second chance because, yeah, he's found a new leaf, and he's turned over a new leaf, and he is doing the right thing now. He's speaking out against Donald Trump and his criminality. Well,
okay. I don't mean to cut her off because I don't disagree. I don't disagree with what she's saying, but something is just dawning on me. The other examples you have of dudes who went to jail for Donald Trump is the weirdo with I just described all of them. I can't think of his name right now, but he went to jail, and his whole thing was going on MSNBC. He's the one who went on MSNBC with Ari Melber, and basically gave up the whole game. And they used that interview as part of like putting him in jail. I can't think of his name right now, but he was the thing that bugged me about him is it didn't feel odd to go on the news and talk to a reporter and say phrases that were essentially, I ain't no snitch, I'll do a bid for my man. And it doesn't strike him as odd that he's talking about the president of the United States. You know what I mean? Like, he just made it sound extra gangster and criminal. And it was like, you just lowered the bar for what it means to be presidential. You just talked about this man like he was a mob boss. I'm gonna stand tall and do my time. Like, you just reduced the president to nothing. Like, to me, that was like the biggest slap in the face to everything that we stand for, was when that idiot got on television and talked about going to jail for the president like he was fucking Nino Brown. Like, what the fuck? And he didn't even pause. I just want to know if he cried in the car, if he left the interview and thought, oh my God, what did I do? Because like, that was, he made a joke of it all. I mean, I can't think of that guy's name, but yeah, he fucking sucks. And I think that he is why Michael Cohen, or vice versa, zig where that other dude zagged. That dude didn't flip. Michael Cohen fucking sang. He sang. He fucking snitched. You know, and Cohen decided to lean into being a snitch to make some money, is what it looks like.
Michael Cohen is now reporting. He wrote an article, and I believe another outlet, he spoke to another outlet. I want to say it was the Daily Mail or the Daily Caller, and he is saying that Letitia James coerced him into testifying against Trump. Michael Cohen is now trying to get back into Donald Trump's good graces. Why? I suspect that Michael Cohen wants a pardon, or he's missing that criminal life.
One of the people he's been trying to get through is he's built, it's so interesting, he's built a relationship with George Santos. So, yes.
Moscow, George. Yeah.
More breaking news, folks. More breaking news. You know, we're gonna give you lots of breaking news. So he's built a relationship, and through others, like, you know, he's kept a relationship. Others that he's been trying to get into Trump world, and asking me even how he could get there, because he has a way, he told me, that he could deliver, him and Jesse Jackson Jr. could deliver Trump the Democratic vote, and Trump could win, and that would get Jesse Jackson
Now she's reacting the same way I did. Jesse Jackson Jr., that came out of nowhere. And if she doesn't, I don't know that she explains who that gentleman is, but that is a gentleman named Lev Parnas. And there's a pretty good documentary, I think it's by Rachel Maddow, that goes into detail about he and his partner. They were former MAGA true believers from Ukraine or Russia, one of the two, or the area, who really thought that Trump was on the up and up and tried. They were part of the impeachment. They were part of the group that was working with Rudy Giuliani and maybe Michael Cohen to get a meeting with Vladimir. I'm messing all these names. Zelensky, I think, the president of Ukraine. Like that whole the phone call thing, that whole thing. That dude right there was a key player in that. And the thing about sensationalism and why we really need to be rid of profit-based journalism, because now they're competing for that dollar, and the only way to do that is to be more compelling. And so before we meet this guy, to actually hear from him, he is portrayed as someone who only maybe knows 5 words and like just snaps necks and they just kind of made him out before they interviewed him, before he got a chance to speak, as this boogeyman type fucking thug dude, like nothing at all what he was like. And it was just like, we wouldn't be in a lot of these messes if we had honest journalism, but there's a lot of things we would be better off with if we could just do some things that are honest. White supremacy is just inherently dishonest, So yeah, that's Lev Parnas, and he is a character. He also was involved with Hunter Biden. And there's something on Netflix I want to say I saw, and he and Hunter Biden finally have a conversation, and it's very interesting. So I'll try and find that video at some point.
Pardon, he'd get a pardon, we'd all get pardons. I turned around, told him, said, you're a sick man. If you think that Trump cares about your plan about democracy, while you embarrassed him and his wife in front of the whole world about his little pecker and Stormy Daniels, I said, that means you don't know Donald Trump.
Yeah.
So he answered me very interesting. He goes to me, Lev, no, on the contrary, I know Donald Trump very well. And I'm telling you, if we could find something, because he was saying we, because he thought I wanted a pardon also, so I was playing along with it. He goes, if we could find something that could be big enough that Trump, it doesn't matter. He will forget it. Look at with J.D. Vance. And that started, I got the head.
J.D. Vance called that dude Hitler. J.D. Vance sounded like one of people like me about Donald Trump. I don't know what party he was with before all this. I doubt J.D. Vance was a registered Democrat, and he still got tapped by the Koch brothers. And I do not mean the rich white dudes. I mean Donald Trump's sons. But yeah, like J.D. Vance called Donald Trump Hitler. Like he was totally on the other side of all of this. And then just had a come to Satan moment, and suddenly he is the awful liar that we've been seeing. Like, I mean, man, there's always been evil, and they were just hiding it for whatever reason. And then that's J.D. Vance, because for him to come all the way around to be this god awful is wild. But he did. He did. Let me let them keep at it.
Thinking at that moment, I was like, what is he really up to? What is he looking at? So I started playing him in the background, listening to some of his conversation. But at that point, I was already on his case. And then if you guys go back to look at some of our Unleashed episodes, you'll see that we started butting heads and going until finally that last one where we hit it. So here's their plan, guys. Michael Cohen has, and I don't know if it's true exactly, who has finally reached out to Trump's ear, has lied about this whole extravagant story to be able to give Trump, and this is Michael's plan that he pitched Trump, and I guess Trump bought into it because this is where we are now, that Trump could get his whole case thrown out. Because it's in appeals right now, because Michael Cohen is going to come out and say that he was coerced by these prosecutors, and specifically Letitia.
Shout out to fellow commentator Keith Edwards. I got that little bit of tea, that video clip from him. And yes, Lev Parnas was right.
Well, former Trump fixer turned critic Michael Cohen is now sharing new insights about his role in that case brought against then candidate Donald Trump. Cohen now claims that prosecutors in both the Manhattan DA's office and the state's attorney general's office coerced him into delivering testimony to secure convictions against his former boss. CB Cotton is live in New York with the latest on this version of Cohen's story. Hi, CB.
Hey, Aisha, a different version indeed. So in this explosive Substack post, Michael Cohen suggested he's not trying to defend President Trump, but instead wants to shed light on how cases are built and what happens behind closed doors before a jury ever hears a word. And this morning, Aisha, President Trump appears to agree with Cohen's comments, writing on Truth Social in part, quote, "It was a setup from the beginning." Michael Cohen, once President Trump's personal lawyer, was considered a key witness in the hush money and civil fraud cases against then presidential candidate Donald Trump. Now Cohen says it was clear to him during the time he spent prepping for the two trials that prosecutors only wanted testimony that would convict Trump. He wrote on Substack in part, quote, "Letitia James and Alvin Bragg may not share the same office or political calendar, but they share the same playbook. Both used their platforms to elevate their profiles to claim the mantle of the officials who took down Trump. In doing so, they blurred the line between justice and politics. And in that blur, the credibility of both suffered." Cohen, who served prison time for fraud and lying to Congress, also wrote that he initially cooperated in the cases, hoping it would reduce his own sentence and secure his early release from federal prison. We reached out to both the Manhattan DA's office and the New York Attorney General's office for their response to Cohen's comments, but I've not yet heard back. Aisha.
Okay, CB Cotton live for us in New York. CB.
Yep. I don't blame the MeidasTouch. If it wasn't for the MeidasTouch, Michael Cohen would not have had the reach or the sizable platform that he had. It was the MeidasTouch that gave him the opportunity to show that he had turned over a new leaf.
Ooh, you know
and
what?
That opportunity that the MeidasTouch gave him, Michael Cohen said, "F you, I'm going back over here."
She's got a point, because when I think back when he showed up on MSNBC, like what they were plugging was his podcast, The Mea Culpa. So yeah, that podcast is what got him on left-wing media to be a commentator.
But there's more. Not only is he trying to get back in good with Donald Trump, whether it's for a pardon or whether he missed that whole thing, it's also being found out that Michael Cohen is in the e-files. Here's the email exchange that mentions Michael Cohen. It says Mike Monaco and Barry Spivak called on behalf of Cohen. They asked whether we would file a Rule 35 and requested a meeting to discuss it. I asked what had changed since we told them on April 17th that we did not intend to file such a motion. They said that Cohen has heard Trump say things about Epstein, but would not go into detail at this time about what those were. They then attempted to rehash our April 17 conversation about Rule 35 and asked for specifics about what Cohen had done to undermine his credibility. I said I would consider whether we were willing to provide more specifics. Now, I don't know what Rule 35 is. I don't know the full context of that. But here's what Lev Parnas had to say about it.
This is Michael's attorney saying that Michael Cohen has information about Donald Trump and the Epstein files. Let me repeat this again for all of you out there that might be Michael Cohen still or whatever. Let me repeat it again. Michael Cohen's name is in the Epstein files. That's fact. This is not, and nobody's accused. We're not accusing him of anything. This is DOJ factual in it. You could go take a look. His name is in them. Just like Donald Trump, just like Clinton's name, Michael Cohen's name is in the Epstein files. Michael Cohen's name is not just mentioned in the Epstein files. The fact that says his lawyers wrote to the Southern District of New York, fact that Michael Cohen would like to get out of prison quicker because he has information about Donald Trump and Epstein. That's it, folks. That's fact. All this other stuff that Michael Cohen and everybody's trying to deflect on is nonsense. And that's what I don't understand. Why can't this be simple? Why can't we just say, Michael?
So according to Lev Parnas, it was Michael Cohen that reached out to Letitia James's office because he said he had information in regards to Donald Trump and the E-files. And he wanted to leverage that information to try to get out of jail quicker. I don't blame the MeidasTouch for cutting ties. But they cut ties and didn't say anything about why they were cutting ties until Ron Filipkowski put this information into one of his Substack posts, buried it way down at the bottom. Let's read it, shall we? This is Ron Filipkowski's Substack if you want to go over and read it for yourself. You open up the article and you scroll all the way to the bottom, all the way down to the bottom, and you'll find this message. Here's what Ron Filipkowski says. A word from me on Michael Cohen. As many of you know, Cohen posted a Substack late Friday night claiming that he was pressured and coerced by prosecutors leading up to his testimony against Trump. Trump and right-wing media immediately seized on it. Trump made a true social post seeking to discredit the entire case. I'm not sure exactly what Cohen's angle is here. Maybe this has something to do with his statement last year that he wanted a pardon from Trump, and it was a back channel to him that this was the first step to make that happen. Who knows? As with most things, Cohen, you just really never know what the truth is during the manipulations. Obviously, we work for the same company, but my personal contact with him was extremely minimal intentionally, so on my part. I do not trust anyone who worked for Trump for an extended period of time, especially someone who served as his fixer. He has admitted to things that I could never imagine doing in a million years. I also never believed that he was sincere in his mea culpas because everyone was always heavily laced with deflection of blame to others while claiming victimhood. Michael Cohen was never a victim. He was an accomplice. My view has always been that, and he was only sorry about getting caught. It also caused me to revisit Cohen's trial testimony where the Trump defense team alleged that he only finally turned on Trump because he thought he was going to get a senior position in the White House counsel's office and didn't. This now sounds very plausible to me after Friday. I know many of you trusted him as the brothers did. Manipulators can be very persuasive. The second I saw what he wrote on Friday night, I was fuming because it just...
Okay, so Trump comes back and suddenly every single lawyer in his legal defense team, except for I think Halligan just got fired, but they all get jobs in government. Blanche is over there, Bondi, Haba is hanging on by a thread if she's still there in like Jersey or whatever. There's a couple people, I think someone in Nevada, but basically he got all his lawyers jobs as soon as he got reelected. So it could be that Cohen and how disastrous that turned out with him flipping on him and testifying against him, and how much that jeopardized everything, because Donald Trump should be in jail right now. You know, from the testimony, like, he should be in jail. Done data be, but you know, the Supreme Court did us. They did us. Samuel Alito did us. Clarence Thomas. Sam Alito sold us out for fishing trips. Let's let this video finish so we can get talking about strategy.
It's confirmed my prior beliefs, which were no secret to people who know me. I was very happy to see the brothers take swift action to end our relationship with him, because it was the right thing to do. I believe in them and this company. We all make mistakes. That mistake has been corrected. I can't be bought. My integrity isn't for sale at any price. If I was penniless and homeless, someone offered me $10 million to advocate for something I didn't believe in, I would refuse it. My lifelong hero has been Gandhi, material things being nothing to me. I don't seek wealth, fame, or recognition. I have no ego about any of this. I don't promote myself. I turn down a lot of things because I don't care about all that. I want to live a comfortable but humble life and always speak truth. I think I am blessed with the ability to cut through the BS to find truth in any country governed by lies. My mission is to relentlessly expose the lies and get as much factual and reliable information to people about what is happening. I think everyone who currently works for this company is on the same page with that and is moving together in the same direction. Even though for a time we had someone who really only ever cared about himself. I think I am blessed with the ability to cut through the BS to find truth in a country governed by lies. My mission is to relentlessly expose the lies and get as much factual and reliable information to people about what is happening. I think everyone who currently works for this company is on the same page with that and is moving together in the same direction. Even though for a time we had someone who really only ever cared about himself. Now all of this makes much more sense. Will the brothers ever speak out on it? Do they need to? I don't know.
Kinda, yeah.
I really don't care. But yeah, Michael Cohen is back to his true form. The fixer, a criminal. I'll see y'all later.
Okay, so real quick, as I was looking up some videos for this, Michael Cohen has his own YouTube channel. And okay, so I didn't want to move it while I was playing, but this video is 16 hours old. He has videos that are relatively the same age. Whatever this is, either he makes videos in advance and like sets them to release, but he has videos where he's still doing his Michael Cohen thing. So it's basically a grift. I'm going to cut it here for now, and we're going to come back to you tomorrow with more strategy on how we can actually get this guy out of the White House. Thanks for listening, and I'll see you next time.